everybody knows you're an amazing guitar player.
I don't know about that,
yeah,
but
you are. You've got like just a really unique sound and quality to what you do. What do you attribute all that to? Because you don't sound like anybody else. You're blazing your own trail. I know you must have had a lot of it. Well, we know some of your influences, but how do you come up with the new stuff? I mean, where does that
I
come
think
from?
the trick is to not think about it so much.
Mm-hmm.
And usually the first thing you play or your first idea is usually, your gut instinct, and I've kind of learned to follow that. Because I'm not a technical player at all. I rely on sounds and sort of just feeling.
But that's the whole.
That's it's sort of just,
Right.
I couldn't
Right.
tell you like, chords and, scales and all that. I'm just sort of like a caveman when it comes to like actually playing, and just like
You make
hit
it
the
sound.
strings and sort of, that's my technical approach
Yeah,
to
but
it.
it works.
It works, so I'm not going to mess with it and just keep it that
Right
way.
on. Right on. Cool. So we know recently you moved over to Roadrunner, and how's the new family treating you?
Really nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to see people that still love music work in the industry.
Yeah.
I think since the record companies have, you've seen all the major labels fall apart, and the people that are still in the business are doing it because they love music, and Roadrunner Records still loves music. And I think with the release of this album and them showing up to every show, their reps, the street team,
That's great.
all the way up to the offices in New York, they're working their ass off for us, and not only us, but all the metal bands on the label.
Yeah, they got a lot of great artists.
They do.
Yeah. So,
Excuse me.
how's all that legal stuff? I mean, for people that are starting out in this business, I mean, that's just got to be huge. I mean, is it just a necessary evil, or is it something you can get through pretty easily?
What do you mean by
like labels, contracts? The business end of the music,
I think they're still trying to figure it out.
because it's changing.
It's changing, and it's
Yeah.
good because
Yeah.
now instead of the artists making 20% of their art, they're gonna get what's deserved.
Make more, they can command.
Yeah,
more.
they can get more money, and
'Cause
the record labels have to work harder. The bands will get paid more, but they also have to work harder to promote themselves. The bands.
So then, with the internet and stuff, do you think it kind of evened the playing field for between the artists and the record company, where the bands do better, or?
I think it gives the artists the chance to sort of prove themselves,
Mhm.
and it kind of puts them in front of people, and it lets the people kind of gauge whether they like it or not. With
Yeah.
a record company putting a gazillion dollars into shoving it down people's throat and saying this is cool,
And
this is
packaging it
and making it all
make you look all perfect.
yeah, it gets it in front of the people, and they can decide whether they like it or not. So
Right. Well,
it kind of puts it in the people's hands too.
but it all comes down to the music.
It does.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I know you have a label. How's that going?
I mean, I haven't had any time.
Yeah.
So it's just sort of something that's,
And
it's on the
I know
side.
you have a couple bands.
I have I have one project I've been working on for a couple of years, and that's finally going to see the light of day at the end of the year.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you hope to add more bands soon?
I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know. It's like sort of like you got to kind of reinvest when you make some money off of a record.
Uh-huh.
Turn around and reinvest it. Well, I'm still waiting to reinvest the money, so
There's a lot of time.
it's you know what, it's given me a lot of insight on how hard record companies really work, and how hard they've worked for us in the beginning, and
Right.
on
Right.
how hard like Roadrunner works,
Right.
and the behind the scenes of like the bare bones, and how it all comes up. And
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a lot.
Yeah.
I
know. Yeah.
I had my hands full. I
Ah.
didn't before I even knew it.
Well, I know that you've probably answered this before, but a lot of people that look up to and that are really trying hard to get out there and make a name for themselves. What kind of advice do you have for them?
I don't really like to give advice because people end up doing whatever they want to do, and I don't know. The thing that I think, you know what I think though, for work that worked for like Fieldy and I and Jonathan is, the internet is a really good tool, to reach a lot of people, but there's nothing like hand to hand, like handing your demo, like outside of a concert.
Right.
I remember Fieldy and I sitting outside of concerts, when we didn't even have tickets, and just we'd flyer every car. You know what I mean? And when people walked out, we'd try to hit as many people with our flyers or our demo tape, when tapes were cool. We had cassettes or whatever. You know what I mean? It was like
the good old days.
That was, I think, and still, it's important.
Like
Like,
word of mouth, hand to hand.
that's
Now
the
you have
best
internet,
way. I
and that's a
mean,
huge tool.
and yeah, it's a huge tool, but there's I think still nothing like handing somebody your demo and like, wow, those guys are cool. I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Because I can look at 75 bands on the internet, and you meet them and you actually put a face to the music and like, wow, you see how dedicated they really are.
Yeah.
And we always we never took no for an answer, and we always decided that no matter what happened, never stop playing the song. And like if the bar catches on fire or the club, just keep playing. Just keep playing. If there's a fight, doesn't matter if it's just the drummer or one bass player. Just play it to the end of the song. So I don't know. Yeah, it does. So
That's
I
cool.
think that's
That's
know.
cool.
That's what we did and sort of
Yeah.
took us to where we are.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a one in a million.
That's awesome.
thing.
Well, we all appreciate it.
Cool.
So, what do you like to do? I know you guys tour so much, but what do you like to do on your off time? Anything we might not know about that?
I like to sleep when I'm not.
So that means you don't get any sleep on the
I
road?
spend I have a 9-year-old daughter, so
Uh-huh.
as much time as I can get with her when I'm not touring.
Does she ever come with you?
No, it's not really the environment I want to bring her into yet.
Yeah.
She's still kind of my baby, so
Aw,
she's growing up so fast. She'll be out here with me, in a few years.
Very cool. Well, that must be hard to be away from her then. So
Yeah.
now touring is going to give you a little tug of wanting to be home.
Yeah, it has for years, but you
Yeah.
just kind of learn to deal with it. Thank God for like Skype and things like that,
Yeah.
where you can kind of
Yeah.
see them, and
Yeah.
airplanes work well.
Very cool. Well, there's just one last question, and I heard this a long time ago, and you don't have to answer it if you don't want to. Something about a finger. Can I see your finger?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So for everybody that doesn't know, you want to explain what?
Yeah, I cut off the end of my finger when I was 12 years old.
I can't touch his finger.
I cut it off in a.
Motorcycle.
Well, it was actually a 3-wheeler. I don't know if anybody knows what that is. It's an
Yeah.
old ATC.
Yeah.
I cut it off in the middle of the night, and basically the bone was sticking out, and they
Did they
kind of had to reconstruct it.
Yeah.
And then the doctor said, you know what, you need to maybe take up an instrument or something to kind of rehabilitate your finger. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I love Eddie Van Halen and Tony Iommi.
Yep. Yeah.
How about the guitar? And my dad's like, cool, let's go get your guitar. I was like, rad.
Very cool.
What if I chopped
And
off
that's
this
history.
one?
Yeah. You're getting
I'll win the
drumsticks.
lottery.
You're getting drumsticks now. Well, right on. Well, I really appreciate it. Such
cool.
a privilege and honor to get to meet you. I feel pretty
on.
lucky. So, thank you.
Cool.